Hello everyone and welcome back at my next video on my YouTube channel and all the other platforms where I'm posting these videos, and this time again something maybe for a little bit of thinking, some question, something for consideration. I'm reading tons of articles and basically I don't want to go to politics in this video. I just have an idea and it's very general. But I had this thought maybe 20 years ago, and now it popped again into my mind when reading a lot of articles about corruption, and even in Western democracies and in many countries, always some cases of corrupted politicians. Then, of course, they have to resign or they don't resign at all. There are many cases which are never actually, or which have never even started to be somehow tried at the courts, or they are then basically having a really long whole trials and cases, and it is never basically somehow settled or somehow really investigated properly. And I was thinking that even in some best democracies it happens, and of course then it should be actually tried at the courts. But for me, even lobbyism in democracies, for me it's a corruption. So basically lobbyism is actually also, even though they claim that they pay taxes from these lobbyistic activities, but well, for me it's a corruption. And then one must guess that what is actually going on in politics. And we can see it all around the planet, that nowadays these tensions are pretty high, and it's going really anywhere in the world. I'm talking very general, into a sort of very extreme and harsh policies or discussions about this. And lots of people in power and rich people basically have that kind of propensity and tendency to be corrupted. That's the place, with budgets, with many programs, projects, and funds, and different actually grants going on. Or they don't have actually that tendency to be corrupted, but only to use that power to be corrupted and take advantage of these positions and functions and all these missions, and basically just abuse the power, abuse this position. And that, in my view, is always connected with some either they have debts from the past, they are greedy, or they have that feeling of privilege, that I have that position and I work a lot for the country, so I deserve something better, that kind of feeling of privileges. Or it can expand into the big shot or heavyweight feelings that I am someone, yeah? And this urge to secure maybe relatives or friends and fund the closest family or family around. And there is a tendency of this, and we can see that also, that presidents have that kind of right, constitutional right, to pardon the sons or daughters from many different cases. Like, it's happening all around the planet. There is no country which is, I don't believe it, that there is a country which has no or zero corruption. And of course, there are countries which are actually much better in keeping it under control, and then try and then actually do something with this corruption. I haven't made any statistics or any really deep research that go really somehow deeper, but what might be preventive, or what might or may basically somehow deter the people be actually corruptible, in my view, in my humble opinion, I think, is that everyone at some position or function might be corruptible. It's just sometimes question of price, question of that value of that money. I had that idea maybe 20 years ago, and I said it somewhere at some discussions, that being a politician and being at a high executive position of any country of the planet should be kind of honor, and should be actually considered as a service for people and citizens of that country. I'm talking completely general. in that past, we can see that from stories or movies or literature and the real true stories when we are reading, that there were certain persons with a high honor, they got that honor and dignity in communities. And having that devoted lifestyle in community, in a village especially, I think we can see it from stories. These were usually at the posts, these people, of priests, doctors, or teachers. Usually, when there was something happening in the village, okay, who are we going to call? Teacher, doctor, or priest? Or sometimes the mayor of the city, or this head of the city or village, we can say. They were basically the most intelligent and smartest people in that community, usually, because they studied. Yeah, they were sent for studies to the city, so they usually had much better knowledge and more information. And that community, when there was a problem, they were usually the first to call or summon, of course. And I have always read a story that usually these doctors, teachers, or even mayors were single. Were usually childless, single bachelors. Usually they were men. We are living in patriarchal society, and we will be living in many years, because that's the only what we know basically so far. So they dedicated usually the whole life, the whole lifestyle, and everything to work for community and to work towards improvement of that community or that village, or they helped and assisted people in hardships of the life, because of course life in Middle Ages or just 100 years ago was completely different and difficult. And there was a tendency to believe that they will be always actually available, always helpful, always ready to help, always ready to assist, due to their position, due to their actually studies, and they will take it as the service to people and community. I think that politicians should start to think if they want to be actually of a service to community, because that's actually the position, what the politician should be. So I was thinking that maybe we should go back into these times when the smartest and the most intelligent people in the community were actually helpful and leading that kind of community in some direction. Of course, it was in a much smaller extent, in much different scale, but I think the idea is there, yes. And why not take it also in this way, that a real service and a real actually political power could be in that kind of position and lifestyle of that particular person. And you can have that actually privilege to serve and to govern and to rule and decide, but then you have to actually have a certain lifestyle. And I came across one article, and I'm posting actually the link down in this video, which is talking about this, and it's in India, where basically, because of culture, I think, and also the whole history of that country, politicians, due to the past cases of huge cases of corruption, of course, of high level, then these politicians now, they are primarily talking about Prime Minister Modi, where he's traveling always alone when there is a problem, always with a diplomatic protocol, and so on, that he doesn't have a partner. He's single person. And it's considered as a service to the country. And they have a motto of certain political parties. I'm not talking about whole India, probably that's a really huge country. But they have a motto, and especially Mr. Modi, my family is my country, which is basically great. And I would say that it should be this way. That yes, for politicians, the family should be the country. Many politicians start to lead this way in that political party, and I think also in India, and this kind of lifestyle. I think we can see that in Scandinavian countries sometimes. I don't know. I didn't make a really deeper research about that, but I think in Scandinavia also a lot of politicians, these younger, especially women in some positions, they are childless. or basically single. Being childless and maybe single is much easier to manage the heavy burden and lifestyle of busy politician. Moreover, the propensity being corrupted is lower, as there are no direct offsprings involved. However, there is absolutely no guarantee, of course, that childless or single politicians will not be corruptible. I'm not taking into parallel that, of course, somebody's childless, he's not corruptible, but I think that in general, when they devote the life into serving the country, there is a lower propensity and a lower chance that they will be corrupted. Again, it's a highly controversial topic because a lot of people would have now harsh arguments that this is crazy because single people and childless people, family-less people, basically have no clue about the issues and troubles of family life. In some way, this is true. We can say that, but although on the other hand, my view is that normal individuals completely understand the problems and troubles of families. India is the country with all those cultural differences, of course, from the Western countries, and also religion. It's an honor for them to offer a service to the country. And I personally would love to see politicians who serve their countries. And even they got kids or whatever, but who actually have more energy and time for their country. And people, not some parties always. I think it's also this partocracy, I call it, and I think it exists, that if we have too many actually political parties in many parliaments, and then the politicians serve the political parties and these kind of positions and seats, and they talk nonstop about who is going to do what and who and when. So basically, they don't do the job, which is also a huge problem. In my view, too many parties in parliament are actually fragmenting this whole politics, and in fragmented political clubs is also another problem, yes. And it's basically, yes, the democracy is better managed in a way that nobody is going to take all the power, of course, because there are these balances and many political clubs who can control this or that, of course, but I would say that anywhere it's possibility to be corrupted. But all of this is hindering the progress and the real discussion. If somebody wants to be really memorable, hardworking politician, I think that there are certain people who would love to just do this, who would just love this, and they don't want to split a life into two territories. It means to be actually really somehow disturbed by family and taking care of the family. So this is something like food for thought, and now it's popping again up, all these problems. And in many countries, yes, we can see that not only corruption, but all this fragmentation of political parties. So I would say, what is your opinion about this? And who should be a good politician and leader of the nation? It's eccentric. It's a little bit controversial to guess on this topic. But however, do you believe that the lifestyle of a politician, character, empathy, integrity of the personality of that politician does matter or not? What do you think? Thank you very much. See you next time.